today is sleep, and it's usually a pretty popular topic because a lot of Americans, a lot of people around the world have problems with sleep. Sleep can affect your health in many ways. I think we're all well aware of how important our sleep is because we're well aware of how our body and our mind and our emotions respond when we haven't had a lot of sleep. So, there's a bunch of different sleep cycles or stages that we go through each night: rapid eye movement, deep sleep, light sleep, and I know there's a lot of trackers out these days, that track your sleep, whether it's a watch or something actually in your bed now, which is kind of crazy. So that can help you understand your sleep and how many hours of REM you're getting and how many hours of light sleep and deep sleep. All of those do different things for our body, whether it's restoring memory or restoring cells in our body, restoring just normal brain function. So all of them are super important to have. And we range between 90 and 120 minutes on each cycle of stage, and we cycle between all of those about 4 to 5 times a night. So it's important to try and have consistent sleep without it being interrupted, which is easier said than done if you have pets or dogs, cats, if you have children. So trying to just get that consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep for adults is important to be able to get through all of your stages of sleep in a healthy manner. So adults usually recommended to have between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. Newborns, as we know, sleep a lot, 16 to 18 hours. School-age children, we recommend between 10 and 12 hours. As we grow, teenagers around 9 hours. And as we age, the older we get, sometimes the less sleep that we actually need, which is kind of interesting. So things that maybe you need to avoid to have a better sleep schedule or sleep cycle. Sometimes it's what we're eating and what we're drinking. So caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, all of those, within hours before bed can really affect whether we're falling asleep or staying asleep. So before bed, think like 2 to 3 hours before your bedtime of what you're putting into your mouth, right? What you're drinking and what you're eating. So, because there's caffeine in some foods too, like chocolate, which is one of my favorites. So, I can't express enough how much schedule and routine really, really mean with sleep. I talk about schedule and routine with exercise and with eating and all those other areas of life, but this one is one that really can either kind of make or break the rest of your day or the rest of your future days. So having a scheduled time that's consistent, and this includes weekends too, of what time you go to bed and what time you get up. And I know that we don't always want to get up at the same time we have to during the week on our weekends. We want to sleep in, which I think that's fine as long as we're not sleeping in large amount of hours from the time that we normally wake up. So say you normally wake up at 6. If you're sleeping until 8, probably not a big deal. If you're sleeping until 10 or 12, it's really going to throw off your cycle, and it's going to be harder to then try and get it back on track when Monday rolls around. So going to bed at the same time, getting up around the same time certainly helps. Now, with that said, those of you that work shift work, struggle, right? Maybe you work while we're all sleeping, or maybe you work, from midnight to noon, or noon to midnight, or 3 to 2 a.m., or whatever your shift work schedule is. That can be really hard to set a schedule. So the thing I can say about that is you still have to have a schedule. So a lot of times people will come home, and maybe we even do this in our normal 9 to 5 jobs. We'll come home, we'll eat, we'll lay on the couch and watch TV, or we're reading a book or whatever, and we fall asleep. And we fall asleep for an hour or two. Then we wake up and we decide, we should go to bed now. You go to bed, and then you can't fall asleep because your body has already started to go into that sleep schedule. Now you've interrupted it. Now it has to figure out how to start all over. So 20-minute power nap is one thing, but falling asleep for an hour or two and then getting up and trying to go to bed again is going to be a struggle. So even though it's super hard sometimes, if you're working shift work, don't fall asleep until it's really time to go to bed. And if you're really that tired to fall asleep in front of a TV, then just go to bed. So I've heard a lot of people struggle with that, whether it's shift work or not, of falling asleep with the TV on in the living room or wherever, and then struggling to fall back asleep when it's time to actually go to bed. So, like I said, if you're that tired to fall asleep out in the living room on the couch, just go to bed. The next one is our sleep environment. What you're sleeping on needs to be comfortable. The pillow, the mattress, the covers, everybody's going to be a little bit different with what their preferences are, whether it's a hard mattress or a soft mattress. Also, the temperature of your room. We tend to sleep better and our body functions better and restores better in cooler temperatures. So we set our temperature at around 66 degrees pretty much year round for when we're sleeping. And yep, it's kind of chilly if you have to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom or check on the kids, but it definitely makes for a much better sleeping temperature. Also check your light source. Some people are super sensitive to light, so make sure your curtains are dark enough, especially if you're sleeping during the day because you have shift work. Make sure your room is nice and dark. Probably the biggest struggle for people is turning off the light. And I don't mean the little light by your bed. I'm talking our lovely phones, our TVs. We personally don't even have a TV in our bedroom. I would highly suggest it. So it's one thing to set up a routine of, going to brush your teeth, wash your face, getting your pajamas on, kind of getting into that sleep routine, and then get into bed, and maybe you want to read. Well, sometimes we read on our phone or a Kindle or, God forbid, a real book these days. So we still have to have some form of light. Just make sure it's bright enough to be able to see, to read, but watch how bright it is. Make sure it's not that really bright ambient light. That keeps our brain going and tells our signal to stay awake. So if you can, try and dim the light a little bit or reduce the light on your phone. There's some new Kindles out that are really great for choosing different light settings to help with that. Also, just limiting screen time before you start winding down for bed. Like I said, screen time, whether it's iPad, TV, phone, will continue to make your brain keep working, and it's not ready to slow down, and it will take longer to slow down. So a lot of times we get into bed and we're laying there and we're thinking and we're thinking and we're thinking, and maybe we're stressed. Stress and sleep really go hand in hand. I'm going to talk about that on my stress video later, so I won't go into stress and sleep too much this week, but they definitely go hand in hand. So make sure you watch the video on stress as well. So I have found that on occasion when I'm laying there at night and I'm stressed, or maybe there's just a lot going on, a lot of decisions to be made, your mind just goes and goes and goes and you can't stop thinking. So one remedy for that I actually find super helpful, and I call it the ABC game, and I've taught all our kids this because, let's face it, sometimes kids have a hard time going to sleep too. I usually will pick the topic of food because I love food and there's a lot to go on with this. So this is how it works. You take the letter A and you think of a food that starts with the letter A. So let's say apple, right? So as you're sleeping and you think, okay, A is for apple, you want to be thinking about what color is your apple? How big is your apple? How small is your apple? What does the apple taste like? So thinking about just all of the textures and tastes of an apple. Then move on to B. So think of some kind of food that starts with B. Let's say banana. So we lay there and we think about, is our banana more yellow? Is it more green? What does it taste like? Do I like bananas? And then maybe you're thinking, oh, I was supposed to make banana bread for the potluck at work this week. I need to buy bananas. Gosh, I wonder who's going to be at that potluck, right? Like this happens. Tangent, squirrel. So how do we bring ourselves back? First, just being aware of it. Being aware that you're off your focus, off topic. Be aware of it, accept it, and just bring your focus back. That's right. What color is my banana? Let's move on to C, cantaloupe. What does our cantaloupe look like? And so getting all the way through the alphabet, I would challenge you to get to Z. I can count on one hand how many times I've ever gotten to Z. First of all, you kind of start to run out of food because there's not a lot of food towards the end of that alphabet. You always have to pick the same one. But it will help your mind just kind of focus on something super simple as an apple or a banana, and you'll quit obsessing about the other things. This takes some practice, but I will do it probably a few times a week if I'm laying there and I just can't get my mind to stop racing about silly things, more important things. So try the ABC trick and see how it goes. Let me know if you try it and if it works for you. You can use any topic, but like I said, fruit, food just happens to be my favorite topic, so that I can find an item for each letter of the alphabet. So with that said, if you get to Z and you're still laying there and you look at the clock and it's been like an hour, just get up. Don't continue to lay there. Clearly your mind and your body are not ready to go to sleep. Now, don't go turn on the TV or turn on your phone or turn on your iPad. I would get a book, like a real book. Get a book, get a journal out. Journaling is great because a lot of times why we're not sleeping is because we have a lot on our mind, a lot of stress, and sometimes just getting it out will help ease that stress and we're able to fall asleep. Also, don't stress about not sleeping. So we stress and so we don't sleep, and so then we're stressed about not sleeping because we know we're supposed to be sleeping, but we're stressed. So it's like a vicious cycle. So give yourself some grace, try these tricks, and see how it goes. If you still are consistently having problems with falling asleep, staying asleep, going to sleep, talk to your doctor, because sometimes there's some underlying health issues that you need to take care of. Maybe you have sleep apnea. Maybe your blood sugar's off more at night when you're sleeping and you have to adjust your nutrition before you go to bed. So there can be some other physiological issues of why we're not able to sleep at night. Now, my favorite remedy to be able to sleep, of course, is exercise. Getting at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise a day, whether it's taking a walk on your lunch break, taking a walk when you get home instead of falling asleep on the couch, something that gets your heart moving, gets your body moving, gets your blood flowing at least 30 minutes once a day. Like, we can blow 30 minutes on social media and that's not a form of exercise. If it was, holy cow, wouldn't that be amazing? But it's not. So the only tip I have for about exercising is try not to do like real strenuous, vigorous exercise 2 hours before bed. That can actually prevent you from falling asleep just because your endorphins and stuff have been up and going. So no more than 2 hours before bed to do any kind of strenuous activity. So I hope these tips have helped you, and let me know if you try any of them because I'd love to know how you guys respond to it. And also let me know if there's any other sleep issues that you're having a problem with. I'm not a sleep doctor. I am not a expert in sleep by any means, but I know a thing or two about it just from clients and some other studies and stuff that I have done. So sleep's important. Get it. If you can't get it, figure out how to get it. Use these tips and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching.